Hello everyone, welcome to Tactica Imperialis and to today's video. Today is going to be a my thoughts on video, and this is going to be my thoughts on the Blood and Glory studio preview that took place on Friday the 2nd of November. It has been about 5 to 10 minutes in my world since the article actually came out, so I've just had one cursory read over it, one proper read over it, and wow. Okay? Wow, I really like what I'm reading in this article. A lot. I like it a lot. It's brilliant. So, Blood and Glory just seems to be, I don't really know what it is, but it seems to be some sort of event, seminar sort of thing, but they're doing it in the middle of the week, and they've done a studio preview at the end of it, and oh my god, the reveals. This is probably going to be the last big set of reveals in terms of previews before Christmas, because they're talking a lot about chapter approved 2018 here, so I don't think we'll be seeing another major preview until maybe the new year. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong on that one. Obviously Black Library Weekend is a separate event, and I might talk about that in a separate video if there's enough reveals there that pique my interest, but we shall see. Anyway, let's get into this studio preview, shall we, because we have a lot to cover. So the preview roundup extravaganza, just look at that image and tell me that that's not cool. So you've got Commander Flipping Farsight, some dude who you may or may not recognize, we'll get to who that is, something for AOS, just looking at the art style, a Fleshhound, and then what's that on the end? That's an Eldari. That's like a Ranger, I think. Yeah, and that also comes up in the article. So the next Battletome. They don't actually outright say it here, but also go away that. They don't outright say it, but Destruction Rising. Things that look kinda like mushrooms. A giant leering face on the moon. Moonclan. Battletome Moonclan. Moonclan is the new name for the faction that you would probably know from Warhammer Fantasy as Night Goblins. So the goblins with the hoods and the fanatics and the cave squigs. They were the ones who got the fungoid cave shaman this time last year, give or take, in Malign Portents. That sort of a look. We've seen what Moonclan can look like already, but now 1 year on, they get their Battletome, and I can't wait. I have been saying for Age of Sigmar for so long, destruction needs stuff. I've been saying it so often. And in AOS 2, that hasn't really happened yet. We've had Stormcast Eternals, we've had Beasts of Chaos, we've had Nighthorn. What else have we had? What else have we had? I feel like we've had something else in AOS 2, but I can't remember for the life of me what it is. Maybe we have, maybe we haven't. I feel like we have, though. Well, anyway, we haven't had anything for destruction that I can think of in AOS 2, and last time we had a destruction battletome that I can remember was Beastclaw Raiders, which is about 18 months ago. That's ridiculous. It's been far too long since destruction got a proper release, but we're getting it now with Moonclan. The only question now becomes, what do they get in terms of models? Do they get new models? Do they just take the range they've got? Or do we see a sort of Beasts of Chaos type scenario, where no new units come out, but they'll get a new set of endless spells, maybe a terrain piece, and that'll be about it. I'm not sure what they'll exactly get, but it's a good time, and I really hope Moonclan are good. I don't want them to be utterly insane like Daughters of Cain, and I don't want them to be absolute utter trash tier like they probably are now. I just want them to be good. I want them to be able to hold their own and be fun to play, because Destruction is not a faction about curb stomping and being super powered. Well, it is, but it's also got that humorous side that Order, Chaos, and Death don't have. And Moonclan feed into that, so they're undeniably malicious and evil, but they're also hilarious. And I hope that they get that message across with Destruction, and especially with Moonclan. Next up, Gorthor the Beast Lord is coming back. Nice, and a couple of others. I do like the Gorthor model. It's a favourite old model of mine. Wouldn't own it myself, but it's a cool model if you are a Beastmen person. Now, Realm of Chaos, Wrath and Rapture. This is nothing new. We knew this was coming. We knew this was going to be a Khorne versus Slaanesh boxed game, primarily for Age of Sigmar, though of course it was designed, well, we thought it was designed to be demons, and we now know it is designed to be demons, so therefore it is a complete cross-system box set. Therefore, 40k and AOS, that's great. And we actually get a look at some models. It's not just, oh, here's a little teaser trailer. New Fleshhounds. New Fleshhounds. Okay. So, the new Fleshhound. Let's have a look, shall we? So, I'm not a huge fan of Fleshhounds as a rule of thumb. I never was. And no one in my friendship group really is either. You may know Kieran, who plays most of our Chaos stuff in Age of Sigmar. He converted his Fleshhounds out of direwolves, though that may have been because they were plastic. So they're an interesting kit, Fleshhounds. I'm not a huge fan of them generally. Like, this whole, like, big webbed maw thingy-majib. It's not really my thing, but it is a very cool look, and they fit relatively well into a Khorne army, I think. They're very scaly, a lot more scaly as opposed to armoured. I wasn't sure if they were going to go maybe and make them a bit more like Juggernauts, where they were brass armoured, because they've also got the black brass collars, which you can just about see the brass collars. So they've gone for quite a almost lizard-men-y look with them, and I quite like it. I won't buy them personally. The only thing I will say is that one in the bottom right, that's going to be a right old pain to assemble. Good luck. That's not going to be fun. But decent enough. And we get another look at the Fiends of Slaanesh. Now, these got leaked a while ago. Well, leaked then officially revealed because they got leaked. So these are the Fiends of Slaanesh, and they do look pretty interesting. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Slaanesh. Demons in general just aren't really my shtick. But very cool sculpt nonetheless. A good reimagining of a classic miniature that was way, way, way out of date. But it's a cool kit nonetheless, and I think that if you're a Slaanesh player, you'll probably quite enjoy them. The trailer also shows off Blood Crushers, Bloodletters, Demonettes, and that sort of thing, and Seekers. So the box game, whilst this might be the only new stuff, the Fiends and the Fleshhounds, it is not just Fiends and Fleshhounds kind of like Speed Freaks. It is a proper boxed game. You'll be able to build a proper demon army out of it, though I don't think you'll have heralds. I'd have to check whether you get heralds further down the line when that gets revealed, but I didn't see any leaders in there, so you might have to proxy a herald on Blood Crusher or herald on Steed if you want to do that. Oh, and there'll be even more as of yet unrevealed models. Oh! Okay, well, we'll see on that one, I guess. Now, moving on to 40k. Chapter approved. As we know, Sisters of Battle. I believe that's Canoness Valerian? I forget the name of the Canoness. The one who was like the model of the classic Canoness artwork from decades ago. I think that's her. And the trailer doesn't show off before. I'm not going to watch this trailer. I've already watched it. It does not show off any new models for the Sisters. So you get no spoilers here about what the Sisters range is going to look like. Unfortunately, sorry. But it does come with a bunch of fun stuff beyond the Sisters of Battle Beta Codex, which is, of course, a very cool thing if you are into Sisters of Battle. First off, looted wagons. Yes! Also, yeah, if you're wondering, my arm's mainly working now. Ow. This should have been in Chapter Approved 2017. The Orc Codex came out on Saturday. I bought it by the time you're watching this video. I have bought the Orc Codex, don't worry. But looted wagons were conspicuous by their absence ever since 4th edition and 5th edition when that codex was around. They got stripped out, probably for conversion reasons, and they were never seen again. I think there should have been a data sheet in like 7th edition, but that was it. Now, they're back. They're only back in open play, But looted wagons are back, and that's great. So you might recognise, if you're a bit more old school, that Lehman Russ with a battle wagon turret. I certainly feel like I recognise that. I think that's one of... Was it? Oh, who made that? Oh, what was his name? Taylor 4 Gamers, 2008. Somebody did a Goth's army, and I could have sworn their looted wagons looked like that. What was that guy's name? There was... I can see his face. I can see his bloody face, and it's driving me nuts. Because Pete Foley was in it. He did one, and Matt Hudson was in it. And some guy did Crimson Fist, and then Finn? Is it Finn? It wasn't Wade. It wasn't Wade Price. Was it Wade Price? I can't remember. His. Or it looks very much like his. At least it does to me. But that's a very cool looted wagon. And if you are someone who likes to loot up vehicles or make looted wagons, this is the time for you. I hope they let them go utterly bananas with them. Because that could be really, really fun. Now, this is the more fun... Well, it's not the more fun. But this to me is brilliant. The 8. The 8. The 8. Mwah. Oh, yes. Right. Those who don't know, a little history lesson from nearly 3 years ago. I started a Tau army. The reason I did that was because I did the lore on that guy over there, Commander Farsight. I did a 3-part video series on my channel for Commander Farsight. It's terrible. It was me reading out of the Farsight Enclave supplement. It sucked. But I fell in love with Farsight's lore by doing that series. So I bought a Farsight Enclave's army. And I've still got it. It's like 3,000 points? Maybe, yeah. Between 2,000 and 4,000 points. I haven't done the maths in the new codex. I think about 3,000 is about right if I add everything up and do a lot of teching up. But I have a Tau army, excuse me, that I painted blue, but I have the 8 in it, all painted pristine red. So I have Farsight, Bravestorm, Shavastos, Ovesa, Oblotine 9-0, Arachon, Bright Sword, and Torchstar. I have those models. I've got a hobby series that I did on my channel when I was doing that project, and it took me like a year to get it finished. But I have all of the 8. And they got taken out of the game in 8th edition, because Farsight got rolled back into the main Tau Codex, and that, whilst probably useful for the army, kinda sucked. So the 8 data sheet went away, and I couldn't field the old Farsight bomb I used to run, diddly diddly dee. They're back! So in Chapter Approved, you're finding these iconic heroes in a host of new data sheets. We're using this, including in matched play. The 8 in matched play. I might actually play my Tau now. Because I've not played my Tau since over a year ago. No, that's not true. I played my Tau on New Year's Eve of 2017 going into 2018. God, I'm losing track of dates. So on the 31st of December 2017 into the 1st of January 28. Again? Right, I'll be right back. Okay, false alarm. What a surprise. Here we go again. So where was I? Oh yeah, I was playing, last time I played my Tau, pre-Codex. I've not played Tau since the Codex came out. No matter how interested I was at the time, by the time I got home from France, I'd kind of fallen out of love with Tau, so I haven't played them. This hopefully is the excuse I need to play them, and I can't wait. I really hope that the hype for this in my head lasts long enough that when I get home, I get Chapter Approved, that I really do actually want to play my Tau and get a battle report done, because I'm getting a battle report for this. Just for the 8. I'm just doing it. I can't wait to do it. And I can't wait to show it off. I know it won't be legal, but who cares? And finally, the Adeptus Sororitas, they get their beta codex, and they have said it's a fully fledged one. So we're getting militant convictions, so they're getting their group tactics, +1 strength and attacks, For a model with this conviction, during any turn in which it made a charge move, was charged, or performed a heroic intervention. Wow. 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 Your sisters are better in melee than Space Marines. Because you'll have more attacks, and presumably the same hit roll. Flippin' heck. Okay. That's pretty good if you stack it up well, and I wonder what the other one's going to be like if that's the sort of standard we're aiming at. And your stratagem for Seraphim. So Seraphim set up using its Sky Strike ability, so the deep strike in. Immediately shoot with extra range, and it can shoot again later. Okay. That's also very, very cool, very thematic. So they're on their way down, flamers down, hit the ground, fire again. Makes sense. I quite like it. Vigilast, just more rambling about Vigilast. So Vigilast is calling for aid, things getting worse before they get better. Like, Vigilast has turned into Armageddon 2.0. That's basically what it is. You've got Genestealer cults, probably. You've got Orcs, you've got Eldari, you've got Space Marines, you've probably got a bunch of Chaos. Vigilast is a bloody mess. And, yeah. Good luck cleaning that one up, Imperium, given you've already got Space Wolves and Ultramarines on its surface. Though, it'll be interesting to see how they develop it, because that is a very important plot point. I've talked before about Vigilast. It's a very important world for the Imperium, because it's sort of the anchor point for the Narcoment Gauntlet, one of the only permanently stable routes through the Cicatrix Maledictum. So its strategic value kind of cannot be overstated, a la Armageddon. So it is an important world, and I look forward to seeing how they try and drag that one to even more apocalyptic levels without breaking it next. House Delac for Necromunda. It's interesting, we had ADB on Adeptus Podcasters last week, and he was talking about how he wanted House Delac. Well, here's House Delac. And if they're your thing, they're pretty cool. The first thing that they remind me of... get a closer look at you. They remind me very much of the Genestealer cult, like Magos. That's the sort of first thing that comes to mind, just in terms of the whole raised collar, long robe, coat thing. And I've also got vibes of like the Thin Men from XCOM, and I have no idea why, but they are very, very cool. So if you are into Necromunda, which I'm not, I probably should be, but I'm not, you can have a look at that as well. And they've also done some compilation books, so easier to get into the game, probably a good thing, thank you much. Night Vault. What are they called? The Godsworn Hunt, that's it. So, the Dark Oath have joined the Warhammer Underworlds. These are the same models, or not same models, the same range, the same faction as the Dark Oath Chieftain that we saw... Oh, when did we see the Dark Oath Chieftain? Warhammer Quest Silver Tower? I want to say it's from Silver Tower that we saw the Dark Oath Chieftain. And we saw the Dark Oath War Queen at the same time as we saw the Moonclan Fungoid Cave Shaman. She was one of the seers or prophets or oracles or whatever the keyword was for Malign Portent. She was the chaos equivalent of the Lord Ordinator, the Knight of Shrouds, and the Fungoid Cave Shaman. So we've seen snippets of this faction before, but they're yet to get put into proper tabletop form. I'm assuming they'll take the place of Chaos Marauders or work in tandem as a faction with Chaos Marauders when they get done. So it'll be interesting to see how they slot in alongside Slayers to Darkness, and they've got a very big angry dog. Very nice. And there's actually some really, really cool models here. Like, Warhammer Underworlds is very good at very good models who are dynamic and interesting. So, whoops, should have turned my notifications off. No, you can't see it. It's fine. So you got the guy with a massive like rock-hewn sword and the very rough edges on that battle axe. The javelin throw spear. The central leader model is awesome with the sort of Eye of Chaos on her hand, and the Animal Skull Staff of Authority, and then the Archer with a big skull and the dog rearing up. It's a very cool range, and I do like it a lot. Night Vault and Underworlds in general, generally very, very good models. Always have been. We've also seen the Troggoth quite recently, with the Squidgen, the Rock Squig, the Mushroom Thingy-Majib. Yeah, some really cool stuff coming to Night Vault. Killer Team Command Roster, Underworld Deck Builder, useful, useful, useful. Warhammer Heroes, they've finally given a nickname to the AOS podcast. They'll both of Stormcast and Voxcast, as they're calling it, will be back in December. Now, I gave a lot of feedback to G-Dubs on podcasting. I'll be interested to see what Stormcast returns as in terms of its new format, because one of my critiques of Stormcast was it was a 15-minute show that felt more like a TV program. So if you watched the video for Stormcast, it was just talky, pluggy, really kind of just speedy fluff, something that you weren't getting any unique insight. Okay, we'll be right back. Cut to commercial. Skip the commercial, and we're back with a new guest. It didn't work. It didn't work for me, personally. I wasn't a huge fan of Stormcast. So I'll be interested to see if they go for a more long-form format. I'm interested to see if it's like one guest per episode, and they have a lot of long discussion, more like we do on Adeptus Podcasters. I'll be interested to see if there's any community involvement, whether they get people on, because in various guest articles, people do name-drop creators. So ADB name-dropped 2+ Tough, which is an AOS lore YouTube you should definitely go and watch, in his most recent article on Warhammer Community, as they do a Tale of Four Warlords. So I'll be interested to see what sort of community involvement there is. That'll be interesting. Space Marine Lieutenant, nobody cares. And Blackstone Fortress. So this is what Blackstone Fortress is going to look like. It's a hex-based, very few dice, character sheety, got a very aliensy vibe by that box art sort of thing. There's been a few reveals coming along over the past few days, the past week or so, and there's a bunch of cool models on here. Some of them we've seen, some of them we haven't. So over by the back right, just off the table, you've got those little spindly walkers. We've seen those up close. We've seen the guy at the very front. The guy's got the little bits creeping off the front. I think that's the Negavolt cultist. There's a rogue trader hidden in there somewhere. We haven't seen them all, but we've seen some of them. I'm not going to try and get up close and personal, because here's a few that we do get to look at. Amelin Shadow Guide, an Eldari Ranger. Illic Night Spear, Eat Thine Heart Out? A little bit. Like, it's a very, very similar model to Illic Night Spear, which you might expect. It's the same range. But Illic is up on a piece of masonry. It's sort of jutting out of the ground. He's up there. He's sort of leaning on it with his rifle up. She instead is stood, legs a bit wider spread, set, ready to take a charge, rifle up, knife out, come at me, bro. So whether you prefer Illic or Amelin is up to you. I think they're both very interesting models. I think this more suits the close quarter confines of the fortress, whereas Illic is more the long-range scout sniper model, so it makes sense. We also get a Ministorum Priest. Now this model, the throwbacks on this model. This model reminds me very, very much of... There is a Ministorum Priest model who who basically is that guy, but ever so slightly different. So he's got the mace in his back, and I think in his front hand he's sort of up like this and shouting a lot. So he's sort of like, Emperor, smite these, and you get the point. This guy instead is like, I am an agent of the Inquisition, you're gonna die now, with his big book of authority, with an overhanging flamer because reasons. He's probably got a shock mace. It's a cool model. It reminds me as well of a bit of Volkmar the Grim, the old Ark Grand Theologist of the Empire, though Volkmar had his weapon forward as opposed to back. It's an interesting model. I do quite like it. And we also get a couple of... Have I ever shot? Nope, spot on. A couple of Chaos Space Marines who very much remind me of both the Crimson Sabres, the Crimson Slaughter Marines that we saw in Dark Vengeance. That's no surprise. And they also remind me a lot of the Chosen of Nemeroth from the Space Marine video game, if anybody remembers how they looked. Obviously, the colour scheme is in Black Legion colours here, as opposed to the Chosen of Nemeroth. But the whole look of that Space Marine on the left, he's got his bolter, he's looking that way. I don't know, might just be me. It's a very Chosen of Nemeroth-y vibe off that model. But very cool nonetheless. Good to see new Chaos Marines in the range. And we know now, if they ever redesign the Chaos Space Marine box set, this is what they're going to look like. And that's lovely. Of new news, what all this means on Sunday, so we may know more about Blackstone Fortress going forward. So yeah. That is the full list of reveals from the studio preview extravaganza at Blood and Glory. And what a set of reveals it was. Like, they could have played it really, really, really safe with Blood and Glory. They didn't have to put half of what they put in there. That was nearly like Warhammer Fest Adepticon amount of reveals in one go. So they revealed to us a new Battletome. They showed off 2 boxed games. 2, remember, Blackstone Fortress and Wrath and Rapture. So that's 2 boxed games. They showed off a new faction for Night Vault. They gave us updates for both Kill Team and Night Vault. We got 3 previews for Chapter Approved, although I think the Lucid Wagon thing we already knew about in advance, now that I think about it. And we also got a reveal for Necromunda, which is very nice to see a new faction introduced to Necromunda. Is there anything else that I missed? No, that is everything. So, okay, it's not quite on the level of Adepticon or Warhammer Fest, but it's still a lot of reveals for a sort of not... I don't know. I'd never heard of Blood and Glory before today, or before the previews for this event started coming up on Warhammer Community, whereas I'd heard of Nova, I'd heard of Adepticon. Warhammer Fest was a sort of new idea that would sort of replace Games Day. I hadn't heard of Blood and Glory. But every time Blood and Glory rolls around now, I'm going to be keeping an eagle eye on the news. Such a fantastic set of reveals. I don't know what I'm most excited for or interested about. Probably it's the 8 Looted Wagons and Moonclan, though not in that order. The 8 I'm excited about just because I want to try and put the 8 back on the board because I already own the models. I wouldn't care, I don't think, if I didn't already own the models and really love Farsight's lore. Looted Wagons, again, I'm biased because I'm an Orc player. So, in terms of raw hype, I think Moonclan is the biggest thing for me, in that I was looking on Twitter and I saw a tweet that said, Moonclan Battletome, Blood and Glory, and so on. I was like, what? Moonclan, what? And I went straight to Warhammer Community, and the article hadn't even been posted yet. I was like, I want to know, what? So I think Moonclan gets my attention for sort of getting me so hyped for this, but a lot of very cool stuff in there. And I can't wait to see how it all shapes out and comes out in the future. Hopefully, none of it's too far away. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I realise I've banged on for quite a long time in this video. I do apologise for that. I have a tendency to ramble when I get carried away. I'm pretty much back to health now, so hopefully we'll be back to a regular scheduled programming soon. I'm also out of the week of hell where I've got lab deadlines and that lot, so hopefully weekly lore videos should resume. And with that said, thank you very much for watching the video. This has been Tactica Imperialis. This is my thoughts on Blood and Glory Studio Preview. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all again. Bye for now.